Leçon 2. L'adjectif. Il faut accorder les adjectifs avec le nom. Si le nom est masculin, l'adjectif est masculin. Si le nom est féminin, l'adjectif est féminin aussi. Adjectives must agree with the nouns that they describe. Unlike in English, French has masculine and feminine, plural and singular. In English, you just place an adjective properly in the sentence. However, adjectives in French must agree with their nouns. If the noun that they describe is masculine, then the adjective must also be in its masculine form. If the noun is feminine, then it must be placed in its feminine form. If it is plural, then the adjective must be placed in its plural form. So, adjectives must always agree with the noun that they describe. Pour former le féminin, on ajoute E au masculin. Pour former le plural, on ajoute S. Adjectives follow the same patterns as nouns. If you want to form a feminine adjective, you add a E at the end of the masculine form. To form a plural form, you add an S, which is also similar to English. However, there are some adjectives that do not follow this general rule. These adjectives are in front of you. I have highlighted the endings for you to see the changes from the masculine form to the feminine form. The first one is heureux, which means happy. The feminine form turns into heureuse. Actif, active. Acteur, actrice. Denier, denière. Gentil, gentille. Canadien, canadienne. Pareil, pareille. Rêveur, rêveuse. For the plural form, there are also exceptions to this rule. They are in front of you. Beau becomes beau. In the plural form, you add an X. Génial becomes géniaux, and you add AUX from the form of AL. If the masculine form of the adjective already ends in an S, and you want to put it in the plural form, you leave it that way. You do not add an extra S. A perfect example is gros. It already has an S at the end. Therefore, you do not need to add an extra S to make it plural. If the adjective has an X at the end, then it follows the same rule as the S. You do not add an S at the end, nor do you change it. There are also colors, marron, orange, that you do not add an S at all for the plural form. So keep that in mind. Placement d'adjectif. En général, l'adjectif est placé après le nom. Par exemple, une robe élégante. Parfois, il est placé avant le nom. The placement of adjectives is very important to know. Generally, adjectives are placed after the noun. An example, une robe élégante. But sometimes, adjectives are placed before the nouns. The adjectives that usually are placed before the nouns deal with beauty, age, numbers, goodness, and size. So this acronym BANGS is very important for you to memorize so you can know which ones are placed before the noun, such as grand or petit. They are usually placed before the nouns that they describe. Before you, there is a list of adjectives that give different meanings après le nom, after the noun, and avant le nom, before the noun. For example, cher means expensive after the noun. However, if you're trying to say dear love or dear friend or dear mother, whoever you are writing a letter to, you use it before the noun, not after the noun. So it's important that you get familiar with these lists of adjectives that I have before you. Cher, grand, ancien, pauvre, dernier, propre. La négation. From the beginner's French lessons, a lot of you should be familiar with how to form a negative sentence in French, simply by putting ne plus the verb plus pas. But ne pas is not the only way to form a negative sentence. Before you, there are sentences. Let's begin with the first sentence. Je voyage encore. I still travel. Turns into je ne voyage plus, which means I no longer travel. Encore is replaced by ne plus to form a negative sentence. Now the next sentence. Elle jette le ballon. She throws the ball. Now if I wanted to put this into a negative sentence, I'll say elle ne jette rien. She throws nothing. The next sentence. Tu connais tous les étudiants. You know all the students. If I wanted to put it into a negative form, tu ne connais personne. You don't know anyone. The next sentence, j'ai un sac et un parapluie. I have a bag and an umbrella. Negative sentence, je n'ai ni sac ni parapluie. I do not have a bag nor an umbrella. Another negative expression is sans, which means without. You use sans to replace avec, which means with. Last but not least, ne plus verb plus que, which means only. Now don't get it confused with the other negative expressions because it is not a negative expression, it is a restriction. This is the end of this week's lesson, and in a few weeks I'll be releasing a review video that will go into more details of how to properly use negative expressions and placement of adjectives. If you have any questions, please leave them down below, and I will also cover those questions in the review video. Don't forget to subscribe and have a great day.